let's move on to Dr. Swift's superintendent update.
Thank you, President Lazarus and trustees and members of the community. We've launched our second semester of this 21-22 school year this week on Monday. Our schools are engaged and participating now, all of our schools, with in-school learning. Our staff and students are invested in being together. They're learning, they're growing, and I appreciate all the efforts from among our staff and our parents, our students, and our community to really make this work during a time of Omicron surge. So it's really inspiring to see all that everyone is doing to make that happen. It was great to be with our Ann Arbor Public Schools PTO Council on Monday evening. I appreciated the opportunity to be there alongside Liz Margolis to share an update on student and school safety. We are going to include that link. I'm sorry it's not in your document yet, trustees, but it will be. We'll include that link to the presentation. And I know that PTO videoed the meeting, and they also have that posted if folks are interested in seeing it. I especially appreciate that the PTO Council continues their work to reflect and practice and live through the year their annual theme, which is welcoming all with respect, compassion, and integrity. So the second part of their meeting Monday night was really reflecting on what school communities are doing to live and embody that theme. PTO Council is currently mobilizing rotating teams to offer support in delivering snacks and treats for our transportation team. Their efforts overall contribute to a more connected and compassionate Ann Arbor Public Schools community. So special thanks to our PTO Council. This afternoon, I had the great honor to join more than 1,800 Ann Arbor Public Schools team members virtually for a 2-hour session with Dr. Yolanda Seeley Ruiz out of Columbia Teachers College. It was a wonderful afternoon. We were working on our ongoing equity in the professional development series. Dr. Ruiz is building and challenging our understandings, we've been exploring the concept of archaeology of the self, and then today, really focusing on that idea of critical humility, which she describes as the capacity to remain open to understanding the limits of our own worldviews and ideologies. It was really an excellent session. I want to thank Dr. Seeley Ruiz and everyone on our Ann Arbor Public Schools team for their efforts in this important work. As we look ahead to February, trustees, I know you're aware, but the rhythm of our school year is that this is the time of year where we begin really transitions for the 22-23 school year. So we are working through those processes and also excitedly planning for parent and community engagement with NAAPID events in mid-February. Our middle-level schools are preparing for a virtual 6th grade parent orientation night, and those will occur throughout February. So if you have a rising 6th grader, a 5th grader this year, we'll have that information in our weekly updates. Middle schools and K-8s are also finishing up their winter band concerts, band, orchestra, and choir concerts. I have missed getting to be at those in person, but it's really nice to have the video production so that you can watch them anytime you want to. So these are beautiful performances and really just showing the excellent work of our students and their teachers, and Robin Bailey, our coordinator, all that they are accomplishing despite our COVID situation. And trustees, they are using those masks for the instruments and specialized masks for playing the instruments. It's really great to see all of that health work going on. to ensure that their activities are safe. I know it is really interesting to hear this, but high schools are orienting the class of 2026 coming up in the January 31st Pioneer and then moves into February. We always encourage our rising ninth graders, our eighth graders, to attend as many high school orientations and welcomes as they would like, because in the Ann Arbor Public Schools, we do allow our high school students to choose their high school campus. Trustees, since we've been back these 15 days from winter break, we have been busy keeping close track on our student attendance. Trustees, you hear across the country the concern about falling student attendance this year. So we wanted to keep a close eye on that to make sure that we're still connecting with students even through this January time. Over these 15 days, with schools being in both modalities, both in school and remote virtual, our mean attendance has been 89.3%. And that's very close to a normal, I shouldn't use that word, but to the 2019 and prior January attendance levels. Mean attendance for in-school days has been 88.9%, and median attendance for virtual is a little bit higher at 90.6%, so almost 91%. This week's attendance, I've been watching that because we've had both the Omicron surge going and winter weather on a few days this week. We've been averaging 89.4% this week. So shout out to our students, our teachers, our school staff. We really appreciate our parents and families supporting and prioritizing classroom attendance. In the teaching and learning area, our SISS team that oversees our services to students who are served on IEPs, they have been working in collaboration with the Washtenaw Intermediate School District to offer interactive IEP training sessions for staff and administrators. Just a really good time to recalibrate IEP processes. And I'm delighted to share that we've been averaging about 40 staff and administrators in each of those 5 sessions so far. The work has been well received and informative. And due to the overwhelming demand, trustees, we're even going to add 2 additional sessions coming up in February, and those dates will be shared. Other work going on, our Ann Arbor IB evaluation and reauthorization work continues. It is successfully moving forward with the completion of the reauthorization process scheduled for this spring. And just a reminder, that is Mitchell Elementary, Scarlett Middle School, and Huron High School. From our facilities and operations team, during the cold weather, we continue to utilize the enhanced ventilation strategies to the maximum extent possible, and we are regularly replacing the MERV 13 filters so that we're keeping that indoor air ventilation at its very best through the winter in the Ann Arbor Public Schools. Trustees, I wanted to bring an update on transportation. We'll be sharing very specifically with parents tomorrow so that they know what to expect. We are going to be restoring all of the routes that have been suspended during the prior weeks, and that will begin on Monday, January 31st. So I'm delighted to share that, and I just want to give a shout out and our sincere appreciation for the patience and the effort and carpooling and all the sacrifices of everyone to get through this time of operations challenge. Now, unfortunately, we are going to need to designate another set of routes for suspension beginning on Monday. As planned from the beginning, we will rotate so that folks don't have that ongoing throughout this time. So we will be contacting those parents directly. They'll be notified about the status of their specific route ahead of next week. Beginning on Monday, trustees, you remember last week we were at about 76 routes of 96. This next week we are improving. We'll be running about 81 of 96 of our routes. So most routes will be running, but we do understand the inconvenience and the challenge for those who will not have service. But I want you to know we will continue to reassign our personnel as needed to cover these essential routes, and we will work to build back up to full transportation operations. This week, we've observed with our transportation team, they continue to have impact rolling through that team, and they're running 20 to 25% absence as a result of direct and indirect COVID impact and other illness impact. We will keep monitoring and keep working to mobilize healthy and qualified staff to serve. We continue recruitment efforts. I had a report yesterday, trustees. That recruitment has never stopped, but we are even amping it up more now because we want to get more drivers in the pipeline to join our team. Trustees, I'm asked every day about what steps are you taking. The challenges are great. We hear about the challenges, but remind us, what steps are you taking? So I know this is a repeat, but I just want to make our community aware. We will continue to mobilize every tool we have available to meet the emerging challenges that we face and to maintain our schools as open for in-school learning on every day that we possibly can. These steps include day by day, literally hour by hour, monitoring of AAPS COVID data and related staffing and student impact. We work around the clock to monitor staff attendance and to move and mobilize staff for coverage to areas of need. We will continue the winter increase, the bonus on those daily rates for all of our substitute guest teachers, and that will continue at least through the end of March. We continue, and that includes advantages for Monday and Friday work, which is also helpful to covering our classrooms in district. We will continue to mobilize members of the central team, my team, into schools, and that includes the superintendent and my team members. We are out. We will support and ensure in every way we can position coverage across classrooms and schools for safe in-school operations. We will continue to deliver our professional development virtually for this time in order to keep our staff healthy and reduce their exposure. And we will continue to schedule our essential meetings outside the school day. In short, we will continue an all-hands approach. We're not looking into the crystal ball to think that this is going to stop anytime soon. We will have to continue to take this approach for the foreseeable future. And we're delighted at this time today on Wednesday, January 26th, to have all of our schools in-school learning. Our vaccination events, we have completed 11 AAPS vaccination events since November, approximately 1,500 student vaccines and over 200 staff and family boosters administered. Trustees, last night was the biggest vaccine clinic yet, and the largest group by far were 12 to 17-year-olds. So just really great news, and they're getting their boosters as well. I want to give a shout out to Jenna Bacalor, Liz Margolis, and members of the team who've consistently worked these events to serve our students, staff, and families. The final vaccination clinic will be held on February 1st, so that's coming up next week at Pioneer High School with vaccines available to students age 5 through 18, staff, and family members of students and staff. We recently received shipments. We've heard a lot about home test kits. Trustees, I know we've heard about the ones that the federal government is sending out, and we've heard about ones from MDHHS. We're delighted to share that we have received shipments of test kits. We are focused on meeting the needs of families who have exceptional difficulty accessing tests. So social workers, nurses, and other team members with direct interaction with Title I families, as well as community partners who serve our AAPS families, such as Peace Neighborhood, CAN, Avalon Housing. These tests will be distributed in that way in this first round of distribution. As we are able to receive more tests, we will share that when we know more information. I wanted to offer the clarification on our COVID school guidance, and I very much appreciate the patience of our families, our staff, and trustees, because this has been a process over the previous 2 weeks with the unveiling of new school guidance, our movement toward that school guidance, and the clarification is around a topic that was brought up in public commentary and one that our team has been working on. So after we shared our guidance last Wednesday, we experienced a dramatic escalation in case numbers. And in fact, trustees, you're aware we finished the week last week with the highest number of cases from the entire pandemic, 177 cases reported last week. Of course, trustees, you're aware those cases represent those who were on campus during their infectious period, and we all understand that that is an underreporting by nature of the guidelines we follow, the state guidelines for reporting. Once that escalation occurred, which was really right after the time when we were here last Wednesday night, it became physically impossible to contact trace lunchtime in every situation. So we have amended that guidance. We do understand the concern. There simply are not enough staff or hours. I appreciate the offer of volunteers. This work involves detailed, protected health information. It's not an activity that we could give to a volunteer, as much as we appreciate that. And I do want to emphasize that 177 cases, and multiply that by a few hours that it takes to contact trace each case, it's a huge endeavor. As a result, on Friday, we did adjust the language in the guidance so that we are not over-promising. We want to be as transparent and clear as we can be. Detailed contact tracing in every lunch or snack situation is not something that we're able to do at this time. When the numbers are very high, this step is not possible. I will note, however, that in the presence of a group of cases, there are times when lunch and snack contact tracing does occur. So we'll talk more about that. On Monday, our COVID response team leaders consulted again with the Washtenaw County Health Department about our strategy for case investigation. You'll recall, trustees, last week, the Washtenaw County Health Department does not list lunch and snack for contact tracing. It's listed as low risk. We wanted to overachieve on that because we felt strongly about it, but we were confounded by the magnitude of what we faced last week. So specifically, school nurses will be monitoring and compiling student and staff case data each day to determine when clusters of cases occur. This means cases whose infectious periods overlapped while they were at school together. The COVID response team will investigate cases in the cluster to identify where exposure or transmission has occurred, if it is possible to determine that, and to assess risk to the rest of the students in the class. The school nurse team will continue to contact trace for lunch exposure when it is appropriate in these groups of cases situation. It is important to remind our families that timely notification and response from parents are what makes us able to do this work. If we don't hear about the COVID case until after the child returns, then it's just harder to complete the work. So we do appreciate folks reaching out to report. As always, members of our COVID response team will evaluate each situation based on its unique facts and details. Wrapping up, I'm just so happy to share that the Pioneer Symphony Band will be performing this Friday, January 28th, at the closing instrumental ensemble for the 2022 Michigan Music Educators Conference in Grand Rapids. This is a coveted slot on the state program to be the closing performance group, and it's recognition of the high level of performance of our students and their director, Mr. David Leach, and all on our arts team. So under the direction of Mr. David Leach, they will be joined by some special guests with a few world premieres on tap, most notably Pioneers, Miss Erin Lillifor's tribute to her daughter, A Song for Charlotte. So it sounds like it's going to be a great event. I hope I can get a recording for us and put that out on social media so that we can all share in that great event. We are fortunate in the Ann Arbor Public Schools to have such an amazing performing arts, visual and performing arts team, and deep support in fine arts by our school board, by our parents and families and community. We will continue to take this year step by step, trustees. It is good to be here with you tonight and to offer this superintendent update. Thank you.